So I want to help you guys to understand a fabulous concept called homotoxicology. It's a giant word, but let me break it down for you. Toxic, of course, would be things that come into our body that are, chemicals, infection, things like that. Ology is the study of. Homo, in this case, is homeopathy. So homotoxicology is the study of how toxins getting into our body and accumulating make us sick, and how we can use homeopathy and detoxification methods to get us healthy again. So first, we're going to look at this. This is the continuum of life, right? We can be less and less and less and less healthy, and one day we're all going to pass. There are phases that you go through along this journey, and I want to help you to understand what those phases are so you can stay as healthy as possible. So the first phase, the healthiest phase that one can be in, is called excretion. And excrete literally means get something out. So in the excretion phase, if something comes upon you that is not good for your body, you try to get rid of it. You throw up, you sweat, you have a bowel movement, you urinate, whatever it is, you're trying to get it out. If you get bombarded with more toxicity than that is able to keep up with, you move into the next phase, and the next phase is inflammation. Inflammation is swelling, pain, fever. We have a lot of chronic inflammatory conditions, that people suffer from these days, and that's because we can't excrete everything we're exposed to, and so our body goes into inflammation. It's really a process of just rushing more circulation, resources, etc., to try to get more out. If this doesn't fully handle it, then we go into the next phase, which is called deposition. And in the deposition phase, if these are cells in your body, of course they're not this neat, but for illustration purposes, if these are cells in your body, in the deposition phase, you are not able to get rid of these toxins. You cannot keep them circulating in your blood, so you got to push them away someplace where they can cause you the least amount of harm. So you're storing these toxins in the matrix between your cells, in the fat tissue, anywhere you can kind of hide them away that is not going to cause you too much harm. Now, this is the halfway point. If you're only on this side, you're pretty darn healthy. But if you keep getting toxicity, then you're going to start to climb, you're going to round, you'll top that hill, and you're going to start heading down on the other side of that hill, which is not what we want. So if deposition phase does not fully handle the toxic loads, the next phase is impregnation. And in the impregnation phase, if I can write and talk at the same time, in the impregnation phase, now the toxins are actually getting into some of your cells. This is not a good scene. I'm going to use cigarette smoking as an example to illustrate how this goes. When a person is a kid or a teenager and tries to smoke their cigarette the first time, what do? Oh, you cough, you just can't handle it, right? Your body says, get this out of here. If you keep overwhelming that and smoke anyway because it's kind of cool, then you go into inflammation and you can feel it. You're taking a jog or you're playing sports or something, and you can kind of feel your lungs, burning because there's inflammation there. And then over time, you start depositing these toxins in the lung tissue. And in the impregnation phase, these toxins are getting inside the cells of the lung. You can look at lung tissue samples from people who have passed away who were smokers, and you can see all the black that's just inside the cells. So from impregnation, if you still don't handle the toxic loads, the next phase that you go into is called degeneration. And in degeneration, you've heard this term before, I'm sure, chronic degenerative conditions. In degeneration, now because of these toxic loads, these cells are dying at a faster pace than they're supposed to. You're supposed to have cells dying, every day because you're building new ones, okay? But in degeneration, you've speeded up that aging process. You've speeded up the deterioration of those cells, and it's not a good thing. At this point, one can use antioxidant vitamins to try to prevent some of this damage. And that's good, but it's not really solving the true problem. The true problem is the toxic loads. So if this keeps going, then you get into what's called the neoplastic stage, which literally means cancer. But we use it in this illustration to represent anything that takes you the rest of the way out. So this is how it works. Cigarette smoke is not the only toxin. We have thousands of toxins that we're exposed to all the time. And so what happens? How do we get well? We have to start taking these toxins from where they're stored and moving them out. Now, it's very important to understand, you may have heard you have to feel worse before you feel better. That might be common that you feel worse when you detox, but it's not desirable to do that. So when you mobilize toxins from your cell, what you're doing is you're starting to push everything to the left. You want it out. If you reach this excretion, this final phase, and you can't actually get it out, then they turn right around and start back down this path, creating inflammation and eventually damage. So that's why you feel worse before you feel better, because you're trying to detox faster than your body can actually excrete. So it's important to understand this, because the more you can help your body excrete, back in the day, great-grandparents used to just give you a spoonful of castor oil. Whatever was wrong, take a spoonful of castor oil. You're going to live on the toilet for a little bit, and then magically you get better. But it's not really so magical. You just speeded up your excretion to deal with it. I'll be talking to you about a lot of different ways to detoxify your body, but this is the simplicity of it. Minimize the amount of toxins that you are exposed to where you can. Maximize your ability to excrete and detox at a pace that's healthy and safe for you.